guys, time for lesson number 7. So for today, I'm actually going to take a request. Actually, it's less of a request and more of constructive criticism, or at least that's what I took away from it. Somebody told me, and I'll paraphrase, cool story, bro, but how about you actually show us how to solo over something like that instead of just talking about it? Alright, yeah, fair enough, we can do that. I'm not going to take the exact same progression we used yesterday though, because that one's a little more involved than you might think. Instead, we're going to take the solo section, or the first half of the solo section of Starman's Voyage, another Cosmic Latte tune. The solo takes place over this epic bass riff Tim put down that outlines a D minor chord and a B minor chord. Now those two chords don't really originate from any one scale, although you could probably construct one to make that happen. But that's not the sound I'm going for, right? I just want to play D Aeolian over this and B Aeolian, or D minor and B minor over these. Now, what we're going to use to our advantage for this exercise is the fact that the notes of the B minor scale can be easily rearranged to look an awful lot like a D major scale, right? Because B minor is the relative minor key of D major. What we end up with now is two scales, D minor and D major, that actually aren't all that different. 4 notes, which is more than half, are exactly the same, and only the 3rd, the 6th, and the 7th scale degree have to be adjusted slightly, raised a half step, to accommodate either chord. Alright? So for the first part of this exercise, we're just gonna play each individual scale degree relentlessly over the entire 2-chord 4-bar vamp here, and change only if we must. Alright? It's gonna sound a little something like this. Sorry, stick to the root. Yours truly jumped the gun. No adjustment necessary. Now we head for the 3rd scale degree. Will have to be adjusted now, right? Raise the half step. 4th can stay the same. On to the 5th, and so on and so forth. I'm gonna stop here for brevity's sake, alright? Some of these will sound a little funky. That's perfectly normal. Not all notes of the scale are intended to be target notes. You can refer back to the harmonic shell model if you don't know what that is. So some of these will sound a little odd. That's perfectly fine. You're probably not doing anything wrong if that happens, alright? Cool thing about this exercise, like with many that we're gonna tackle, is that it can be modified very easily so that it'll stay efficient a little longer and we can get a little more mileage out of it, alright? Because I have a feeling you'll get the hang of this quite quickly. One way to modify it is to, instead of using individual scale degrees, is to actually craft little sequences of like a couple of notes, so you actually have to be paying attention to a larger portion of the scale and change what needs to be changed, alright? I've elected this simple 3-note motif we're going to play over this, and I think you'll know what I mean pretty quickly. Here we go. And so forth. Again, I think you get the idea. So last partial exercise we're going to look at is actually running through the entire scale within one position. I'm going to just stick to the same position we've done the entire lesson in so far, and switch completely over to the other scale when the B minor hits. But we're just gonna like walk through it without changing direction, without changing the rhythm, without anything that could distract us from just focusing on the harmonic material. All right, here we go. And so on and so forth. And unless you've actually happened to pick a position where the number of notes exactly equals the number of subdivisions you're playing over these 2 bars each, this transition point is going to keep shifting, and it'll actually take a really long time until it all comes back around and you're repeating yourself. So again, an exercise that requires you to stay on point and stay focused for an extended amount of time, which I feel is something we should all be working on right now, if not right now. All right. So guys, that was lesson number 7. I hope you enjoyed it, and check back tomorrow for another one.